Hello everyone, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Trained Hinata. This story is made by Morisato, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Jiraiya and Naruto already spent 2 years of training outside the village, and Jiraiya was about to send the monthly report of their progress to Tsunade. Ero Senin. Naruto asked. I told you not to call me that a million times already. We're so close to the village, can't we just deliver the report personally? It's been 2 years already and I've been to see everyone, Naruto said while trying to estimate the distance. Sorry kid, but you know as well as I do that if we go there we'll probably end up meeting all your friends and stay longer than we can afford in this limited time we got. Or come on Ero Senin, Naruto asked with the cutest face he could come up with. You know I won't go, Jiraiya said. Transformation no jutsu. Please Jiraiya sensei, please let us go there, Naruto asked while hugging Jiraiya with the result of him being before he could say. So they set path for Konoha. For the first time in 2 years they were even close to its grand gates, and now I can finally see my friends and Tsunade Bar-chan again. Naruto thought as he tried to wake up Jiraiya. After a day of normal walking, they found themselves at the gates of Konoha. The guards were breathless. Is that you, Naruto? The first asked, being followed by the second, who stood amazed to see the legendary Sannin Jiraiya with this mere demon brat, stunned by the fact his fellow guard knew him and greeted him. Of course this is me, Naruto shouted while walking past the guards. Jiraiya whispered to the asking, I reckon the fifth is busy with some paperwork. The second guard responded saying she was just back from a diplomatic mission but probably was in her office. Naruto and Jiraiya jumped past rooftops to not bump into anything they know, as Jiraiya suggested. When they arrived at the fifth's office window they saw Tsunade sleeping. Ero Senin. Naruto asked in a suggestive way. Alright. Consider this as a part of your training. You have to break into a rich person's house while the guards are everywhere, and it is your duty to set up traps in the room to kill that person only. Now of course you don't intend to kill but to prank, Jiraiya whispered while he opened the window more to let him trough. Silently Naruto went trough the window, checked which floorboards were cranking when stepped up, and pulled out a scroll. Oh god, I'm really going to today, Jiraiya thought while seeing and knowing what Naruto was about to do. Silently Naruto went trough the entire room, putting wires above, next to and amazingly even around Tsunade's head, shoulders and arms. During this he was also opening the scroll and releasing that what was sealed within. OS, he's really going to do this, Jiraiya thought as looking for the fastest way to escape and setting a sleeping gas trap outside so that if awakened he would have a chance to live 5 seconds longer. Naruto pulled out a large bucket and another one to attach them to the ceiling above the Hokage's head, writing a note and putting it in her hand. Shouldn't be sleeping during work, Bar-chan. He put Jiraiya report on the head of the table where there was a free spot. Now let's go for she wakes up, Naruto said, but, to Jiraiya grief, just that bit too loud as Tsunade woke up feeling something was wrong. 2 large buckets both filled with green and blue slime fell down on her as she moved her head and arms to stretch out after a good afternoon's sleep. Naruto, was all they heard before disappearing into the village as fast as they could. A moment later Jiraiya looked back, almost smacking into a wall by surprise. He saw a great cloud of dust coming towards them, gaining fast. He shouted to Naruto, if you value you live you'll better run or hide kid, but it was too late. Tsunade was next to him, giving him a front kick, blowing him back far enough to almost reach her office building. After a second she appeared next to Jiraiya with a smirk that could make her evil demon cry for his mother. He quickly stopped as he was also sent back a few hundred feet trough the village. As she found Naruto and Jiraiya before her office she carried them both in, put them into a chair and woke him up. I reckon you thought it was a funny training session be trapping my office now, was it, Jiraiya? Tsunade said, still with the evil smirk on her face, almost laughing. Look at him, she thought, Naruto-kun has grown so much. She laughed to herself, scaring the s out of Naruto and Jiraiya as they both thought, she's thinking of ways to us. It is fortunate that you come to the village at this very moment, Jiraiya, Tsunade said while pulling out a scroll. I just came back from a diplomatic meeting with Kazekage Gaara to find this scroll. When I came back, It's an urgent call for help. A small kingdom, Tsunade continued. They request the help of one of our mightiest shinobi because there are 3 ninja that single-handed kill the complete army of Junin. As I can't think of a large army, their payment is good and I want you to go because it's. Tsunade tried to explain but Naruto interfered. Hell no, it's still my training and we're not done for another year. Naruto yelled but at no use. As I was trying to explain, all our Junin are currently unavailable and you're the only one strong enough to do this solo mission, Tsunade said. You have 1 hour to pack. Here is the mission and I'll see to it that Naruto won't stop his training, Tsunade said in one breath as she walked over to the window staring to the clouds. Naruto said goodbye to Jiraiya after some screaming about his training but being assured that Tsunade would take care, he kept quiet. Now, I want you to go home and get a good night rest, also wash up because I don't want any filth in my office. Meet me here at noon tomorrow so you have time to clean up things and maybe get a good night's sleep as well as some new clothes as these are, so it seems, worn out by training, Tsunade said. With this he silently returned to his home. Flashback. As I'm going on a 2 to 3 year training, my plants should not be left alone. Naruto thought while packing his things, as he was very fond of his beautiful flowers and even more of his herbs and weeds that could be used for Ellen cures. That day he went to Ino's shop and made a deal with Ino, letting her to care for all useful plants and she could pick the flowers if she wanted to. End flashback. He saw she had taken mostly of the flowers and all herbs and weeds were gone. He should check up with her how they were doing but not today. As he cleaned his apartment, night fell soon and he was tired of it all as he took a bath and washed himself, thinking of what he would do the other day. The next day he woke up from sunshine on his face. The sun was just up and it was 6 in the morning. Time for my morning exercise, he said to himself. After this he went shopping at 8 when the shops opened and found himself some new gear as well as some breakfast. It was at this time that Hinata was summoned by the Hokage to receive some news about the whereabouts of Naruto. Flashback. PP please, could you tell me where Naruto-kun is after all, when he will be back, Ho Hokage-sama? Hinata asked after she saw Naruto leave the village with his newfound sensei. The 5th explained about his training, knowing that she loved him and that he didn't know about it. After some thinking she decided that Hinata could come every month to receive any news from what they were doing and if they were to come back. End flashback. Hinata, I see you're early again to receive the information about Naruto. Tsunade said while trying to find the proper words not to let the girl be too shocked. Hi, Hokage-sama, Hinata replied. Well then, I've got good news for you. Yesterday he returned and he'll be staying for at least a month before going back to his original training. Tsunade laughed at the shocked face as well as quickly thinking about what to do with her. She hasn't been able to even become a Chunin yet she has the strength to beat a Junin. Maybe I can use this to their advantage because only she and Naruto-kun are the only ones that are still genin of the old 9, she thought while trying to wake up Hinata, which of course, fainted because of the great joy and news. From today on you'll train with Naruto one-on-one and he'll tell you more about it when Naruto arrives, Tsunade said, almost making Hinata cry of joy, whom still could not believe the joy she felt for the first time in 2 years. It was almost noon and Naruto, having new gear, and supplies for the rest of the week at home, walked towards the Hokage's office. When he entered he found a blushing Hinata and a pissed off Tsunade. Why don't you ever learn to knock? Tsunade said while she pointed at a seat next to Hinata. I didn't came here to knock but to get my training. It's already noon and I only have had 4 hours of exercise instead of 6. Naruto growled back. Naruto-kun, why you're back? Hinata said, stunned as she was seeing her love in for the first time in 2 years as he has grown. Now wearing something different than his usual orange-blue outfit, he wore a small black shirt with a long black pants and sandals. Also he had a new headband of black fabric and the leaf of Konoha engraved into it. It was rather long so he had 2 ribbons fall to the middle of his back. Over this he wore a long black coat made out of real leather, given to him by the Kakashi. Flashback. Naruto met Kakashi that morning while Kakashi, as an excuse he said that he needed a new mask and he offered the large coat to Naruto to keep him silent. End flashback. Hinata, how are you? Are you still stuttering? You've grown. Why are you here? Naruto fired away but before she could even try to answer or faint. She is here because I asked her, Tsunade replied to him. Anno. I am getting new orders or a new sensei for training, right? Naruto asked doubly. No, you shall not get a new sensei, nor new orders for training. I've asked you both here because you are the only genin left of your age and I know you are strong enough to be junin. Tsunade said as she walked to her window. But I was supposed to get junin rank when I came back. Naruto tried to imply. Yes, but that would be over a year and I don't know how much you nor Hinata has grown over that last few years, so I have decided, you both passed the first test of the Chunin exam easily so I won't let you redo that. Also I want you two to train each other for the next month and try to get the best out of each other. By saying this Hinata almost fainted if it was not that she would fall on Naruto which made her even more red than she already was. You got 1 month to train and after that I want you two to have a battle in the arena. This battle will decide if you are to be Genin or become Chunin or, if you prove you can handle it even Junin. As Tsunade took out her bottle of sake she thought, you better make her more confided Naruto, or else, and Naruto jumped up taking Hinata with him laughing and jumping just before she fainted. Naruto gave up trying to wake Hinata up cause every time he tried to wake her up she just looked up into his eyes, blushed and directly fainted again, so he said goodbye to the fifth and set off, carrying Hinata bridal style off to her home. I'd better not just walk in by the gate. If Hiashi sees us like this and he will heed, Naruto thought while jumping across some roofs not to be spotted by the crowd. As he was close to the mansion Hinata almost woke up and he lay her down in a tree where she woke up. She asked him if it was really happening and that they were to train again. After he said, yes, she blushed, me all alone with Naruto for a whole month. I hope I'll dare to tell him my feelings, a whole month. And that went on and on until Naruto came to her mind again. So, Naruto said, want to go to Ichiraku to get some ramen? He asked, I'm hungry and haven't eaten good ramen since 2 years ago. He asked me out, he really asked me out for a dinner date. Hinata thought as she was standing up and began to stutter, I'd like to NNN Naruto KK-kun, she said just before Naruto grabbed her, threw her on his back and started sprinting off at great speed. A bird saw a big black flash coming past him before he was blown half-trough down by the wind that suddenly emerged. Sorry that I took you on my back Hinata, but I don't want to be late for ramen. Naruto said to her while he went flying off trough the village. Hinata however didn't mind at all, being held by Naruto she couldn't be happier, that was until he suddenly came to a stop, sliding past Ichiraku right into an ally before running back to Ichiraku and putting her down. Oi! Naruto. Finally came back I see, the old Tsuki said before walking to the side door and opening it. Hey Ayami, come look who came back from his trip. He yelled trough the door only to be followed back by Ayami, who had grown a bit but not much. Hey Naruto. She said, couldn't resist our ramen now could you? She said with a friendly smile before looking at Hinata saying, and I see you've brought a new girlfriend, why didn't we hear of this sooner? She said while blinking at Hinata. She's not my girlfriend. This is Hinata, my new team member, Naruto quickly said in his defense. This made Hinata blush and giggle at the idea of being his girlfriend. Seems like me she wants more to be than just a team member Naruto. Tsuki said laughing at Naruto's upcoming red face. Now, what will it be? The usual. Yay, in the last 2 years I couldn't find a ramen shop even close to the good taste of yours. Oh, and Hinata, what would you want? I almost forgot you, Naruto said while grabbing the back of his head. I'll take the same as NNN Naruto KK-kun please, she shyly said. It was just then when Iruka walked by hearing a familiar laughter. Naruto, is that you? He asked while putting his head between the curtains. Iruka-sensei. Naruto yelled out, seeing the teacher that was like a father to him. Naruto, I thought you weren't coming back for another half year. He asked Naruto, interestedly listening. Iruka ordered a bowl of ramen and the four of them listened to Naruto while he told of his training and why he was back and also that he was going to train with Hinata for the rest of the upcoming month. So, Hinata, you're a lucky girl to train with him, aren't you? Ayami asked, knowing she loved Naruto as she had been watching him eat ramen all those years. Hinata happily nodded as she drank the last of the ramen soup that was left and stared at Naruto who was already busy with his third bowl while she and Iruka-sensei were just done with the first. I'll have to find a way to boost her confidence or something, Naruto thought. She never really says anything except that time in the Chunin exams and she always faints or blushes, unknowingly that he was the reason for it all. After they were done, Iruka paid for his, Hinata paid for hers, and Naruto panical searched around in his new clothing. Oh no, I forgot. My last money was used this morning to buy new clothes, and Eros Senin took all my savings to go to a nightclub. He cried out. Immediately Hinata grabbed her wallet and paid for his 4 bowls, saying it is the least she could do. After they left, Iruka suggested that they should find their friends and have a little reunion after the 2 years. Hinata and Naruto walked away, ending up at a bench in a nearby small park where he sat down, and after some hesitation she as well next to him. We should discuss a training program and decide where to train the next month, Naruto said while thinking of the various training areas and spots in the woods and around Konoha. Anno. I always train at Area 11 feet, Hinata said. They got a small pond to spar on and also some trees and a rocky area with a small cave, and since I started training my kiten, I made a few craters in the landscape, Shay explained. That's perfect. Naruto began thinking of a training program best to suit the spot and the two of them. After a few seconds he said, actually, I know you're strong but not how strong, Hinata. Can you show me what you got? He said while standing up. Oh okay how you want to see how strong I am, NN Naruto K-kun. Hinata asked. We'll go to Area 11 and have a little match, he simply put while walking off towards Area 11. Arrived at Area 11 they found out that they were not alone and saw Konohamaru and his team fighting their sensei, Kurenai. Kurenai sensei. Konohamaru surprised yelled, sent her backwards into a tree. I'm sorry, are you alright? It's okay Konohamaru, I was just so surprised to see Naruto and Hinata together after all this years, Kurenai said while standing up, not even a scratch. Konohamaru looked up and yelled out to Naruto, say is she your R? Single quote. Konohamaru asked while raising his pinky. The quickly he draw it back because the last time he asked this while Naruto was with a girl they both ended up with a big bruise on their head. Naruto blushed and shook his head and Hinata just stood there blushing and giggling. They all talked a while and eventually they explained the situation. Well, if you're training here we'll pick another place tomorrow, let's go find the rest of the old group then. Naruto half yelled while turning around and Hinata quickly following them. They truly are a cute couple, they just don't know it yet, Kurenai thought as she watched them walk away. Since we can't seem to train today, let's follow Iruka-sensei's idea and meet up with the rest, Naruto said. Do they all still live in the same places, Hinata? Yes, except Shikamaru, he's always in the land of the wind, ever since the time we met up with the Sand Shinobi to defeat those guys in the chakra armor he's been spending a lot of time with his girlfriend Temari, Hinata said. If only we could be like that, Hinata thought to herself. What? Naruto yelled out, that guy has a girlfriend. Ever since you left they were Chunin and leaded the Chunin exams which were always in Konoha, so she came over here and after each one she stayed a bit longer than usual and eventually he suddenly went there for a month and well, the rest you get, Hinata said while they walked around the corner of the flower street. As they entered they were immediately greeted by a surprised yet beautifully aged well-known face, Konnichiwa. Naruto. Hinata. Ino yelled, how are you? Wow, I never pictured you two together walking into a flower shop. Ino smirked seeing Hinata's already red face become a more crimson red with each passing second. Of course everyone in the whole village knows she loves him, but did she finally got enough of waiting and tell him? Ino thought as she walked to them. Hey Ino, I thought I would take longer but I'm back from my training so I was wondering how my herbs were doing, Naruto quickly said. Of course, I've taken into my care like I promised and who would treat them better. Ino smirked while she took them to a door in the back of the shop, leading them to a small greenhouse in the backyard. See, I took them to a special spot and all are cared for with love, Ino laughed. Say, would you mind if I leave them for another month? In 1 month they'll hear if I can continue my training or not, Naruto asked while curiously looking around. Of course, but on one condition. Ino smirked, shoot. My father is a herbalist expert but he doesn't know what this is. Ino blushed a bit and pointed out to a certain weed that was in the middle of the rest with the tag pink weed. Naruto laughed and after a few seconds he said, I hope he hasn't tried anything with it, has he? Ino was even more blushing and she said, he grinded it and then put it in some hot water to see if it had a scent and that week he acted all weird. The next day he took my mom out to dinner and now my mother is pregnant again, they hated each other. Ino said, and I thank the Lord of Herbs, Ino thought while thinking of that herb, he was suddenly nicer to everyone. More than I ever remember him to be, and he was even helping the old lady across the street to wash her windows. Ino laughed. Thought so, I guess your father is not the real people's person, that's the affect, it's a herb from somewhere in the country of rain. Naruto smiled as he continued. Well, I guess it's okay if you leave them here for another few months. Seeing the first deal was 3 years and only 2 passed, Ino said while they walked back to the shop. Ino unfolded the paper and began laughing as she went back into the shop and to the greenhouse. The paper fell down on the ground only to be blown away by the wind playing with the note and some leaves. I need a few pink leaves. Winking face. Where do you the others will be? Naruto asked while looking at Hinata. And what's wrong with you? Ever since we said goodbye to Ino you keep giggling, or is it some girl stuff? Suddenly shocked that she let her joy out, she blushed and said, I it's nothing. Naruto KK-kun, she said as she awkwardly smiled, feeling she was busted on something big. Shikamaru is gone, Chuji is on a cooking trip with his father, Kiba is training with Shino and Lee in Lee's dojo, Tenten and Neji are probably training in Area 69, that reminds me, he's Junin and since he became Junin they have been together, Hinata said while thinking of it. What? Damn, of all people only Shikamaru and Neji got girlfriends. Maybe the cool, uninterested attitude really works then. Naruto said while laughing. Let's try and find Kiba, Lee and Shino first then. Arriving at the dojo they found no one, so they left for the Hyuga mansion as she had to eat and was forced to eat at home. She tried to invite him but he wouldn't accept it. That night Hinata thought of nothing else than a few moments of that day. The next day she went to Area 11 and found Naruto there hanging from a tree doing exercises with huge weights on his arms, legs, body and as a belt around his head. Oi, Hinata, I'm sorry that I was a bit early, Naruto said as he jumped down, put off the weights, each of them making the ground shiver when they touched it, as he sealed them all in a scroll putting it away. Shall we start the fight? He happily asked. Hinata, a bit shocked by his direct approach, said, shall we train a bit first? To loosen up. Of course we can, but I want to fight you today. So they started a bit of training. She went to a few trees and started her Juken and Naruto just watched as she did. After about 10 minutes Naruto couldn't hold himself. The tree probably hates you by now as you've whacked your way half trough. Shall we start now, Hinata? Naruto laughed as he saw Hinata blush while she looked at the tree and her palms. And so they stood against each other preparing battle stances. I can't just attack him, can I? How would he react if I'd hit him? Wouldn't he be mad at me? Shot across Hinata's mind while they stood there, but just when she was about to give up beginning and wanting to say she wasn't worth sparring him, he shouted, don't forget, come at me with everything you got. Naruto shouted as he suddenly disappeared. Where did he go? Hinata thought as making the seal and activating BYAKUGAN. After a second she saw Naruto about 20 yards behind her behind a tree waving at her smiling while he whispered, now let's get started. He blinked and ran up to her with AK in his left hand, and just before he reached her he jumped back with a flip to land on his feet. Hinata, not impressed, blocked the K he threw and also the one that the real Naruto threw from her back as she saw that the other one was obviously a cage bunshin. Impressive, not many see trough my cage bunshins in just a second of combat, Naruto said as he stood down from the tree he was hanging in. Now come at me with everything you got, I dare you. Naruto claimed as he adjusted his battle stance to a more defensive style. Hinata launched herself at him trying to hit his chakra points. Most of the attacks were blocked or dodged, but at some point she managed to reach some on his left shoulder which he quickly countered, but he felt the chakra leaving his arm and he tried to counter them for the next few minutes. He started to fight back. I know she has more than this, Naruto thought as he gave her a blow to the left leg, just barely dodging her Juken by letting himself fall down, being KS'd by Hinata. Naruto jumped up and used another 4 cage bunshins, starting to attack her from more directions as well as keeping one hidden. I know you've got more than this, Hinata, you should be able to easily block these attacks and hit me more. Naruto laughed as he walked towards her while she hit the last cage bunshin and shyly started playing with her hands as Naruto was not close to her. I'll know more what to do now, Hinata, Naruto said while he walked even closer. We need to focus on your chakra control and maybe try to teach you some jutsus that would be able to help with your Juken, Naruto said as he moved even closer to her. And we need to work more about your confidence. You're not aware that you have such power and you let your guard down too soon, Naruto laughed, but halfway his laugh he let out a sigh and he felt the same thing. Finally she began to make a move. But maybe I overdid it, Naruto thought by himself while starting to counter her punch and began to fight back again. They fought on and were moving at twice the speed they fought with at first, and also Naruto started to throw in a few jutsus, and after an hour they stopped. Both tired of the heavy non-stop combat, they fell down onto the grass and lay there for a few minutes staring at the clouds before Naruto started to speak again. I expected nothing less, Hinata, he said while turning over to face Hinata's face. Only to find her sleeping from exhaustion. He stood up, picked her up and sat her to a tree. While Hinata was sleeping he pulled out the scrolls with the weights and started his daily exercise. At noon Hinata woke up finding herself at a tree in Area 11. She saw Naruto fully geared up with weights fighting a bunch and without weights on top of the water with a blindfold over his eyes. He fought with great blows to him and each time he stopped a bunch and another one would walk up the water. That was when Hinata saw it. All around the pond were bunchins, some laying down, some sitting, some watching the fight and some even reading some scrolls or sparring. She watched a while until she heard something above her, and as she watched up there was a bunchin looking down from his scroll. He was reading something while watching her. I'll tell myself, he told her as he and all the others disappeared. Hinata watched around her and saw Naruto remove the blindfold and the weights again. Naruto walked over to her and sat down next to her. Want to go out and get some dinner, Hinata? Naruto asked while looking at his wounded hands and arms because the bunchins did some damage. Hinata, however, wasn't able to answer, being stunned by Naruto sitting next to her. Sweating she fell into her daydream and after some time she suddenly woke up feeling a shiver across her back. She was feeling cold except her left side, so she tried to turn to the warm feeling only to realize the cold chill was the fast wind as she was held by Naruto while flying from rooftop to rooftop as he held her tightly against him. After a moment of joy she closed her eyes and dwell off again. Damn, she fainted again. Maybe I should take her to Tsunade-chan or let Sakura look at her, Naruto thought while picking up Hinata and jumping off towards the hospital. I should ask her tough. Every time she comes near me she almost faints or blushes. Naruto thought as he was closing into Tsunade's office, and Hinata woke up just to blush and faint again. Tsunade-chan. Naruto screamed as he jumped off the open window, laying Hinata down on the couch in the corner. Walking up to Tsunade's desk he found only an empty chair and started to in the hallways, but he couldn't find her anywhere. He picked Hinata up and was about to exit off the window when the door was knocked and Sakura walked inside. Tsunade-sama, I've got more paperwork for you. The Kazekage also send another request for that genin exchange program you're working on, Sakura said while walking in and putting the large pile of papers because she didn't hear any muttering from Tsunade about more paperwork. Tsunade-sama, oh hey Naruto. Naruto, why are you holding Hinata? Exclamation mark single quote. Sakura screamed, both shocked and stunned seeing him after 2 years and the situation. Flying across the room crashing into the wall. What have you done to Hinata? Sakura asked while she caught her and sat her down, quickly scanning her with a medial jutsu. Never mind, I see she's just asleep, but why are you and why are you carrying Hinata around in the Hokage's office? Sakura asked while she sat down in the Hokage's chair and began sorting the paper into some sort of order. After Naruto explained the whole situation they came to another point. Where was Tsunade? I guess she skipped her paperwork again to refill her sake drawer, Sakura sighed. She walked to the window and looked over the village. Handy that you've come, I can use your cage bunchins searching her, Sakura said, but I came here to see what's wrong with Hinata. Naruto said to his offense, but one look at Sakura and he did the jutsu and a few dozen Narutos jumped out of the window and disappeared. At that moment, on the other side of town. Another bottle, Tsunade said to the shopkeeper as she drank the last drop out of her cup. And give me the bill, I've got to go back to my paperwork before Sakura finds out. Ba-chan. A voice came from the other side of the curtains as Naruto pulled his head inside and quickly looked around before seeing Tsunade. He smiled, "Found you," he said just before he puffed into a small cloud of smoke and Tsunade knew she was busted. Here's some coin, keep the change, Tsunade quickly said while grabbing a bag from the ground that appeared to be filled with sake bottles. But it was too late. She saw a few Narutos on the rooftops smirking before all puffing and one real one jumped down quickly followed by Sakura, which furiously walked up to Tsunade and began dragging her back to the office. Sakura, it's okay, I just had to gather some supplies and was on my way back to that awful mountain of paper when I just took a small drink on the way. Tsunade said. Back in the office, Tsunade sat downside to see all the new paperwork. Why is Hinata sleeping? I hope you're not overtraining her, Naruto. Tsunade asked while she walked over to Hinata. I already checked her, Hokage-sama, Sakura said, who said anything about checking her. Tsunade smiled while she picked up Hinata. Naruto, I'd like to show you something that will help in your training. Here, hold her tightly, she said as she handed Hinata over to Naruto, whom held her bridal style. Now I want you to look in her eyes as she wakes up, she said as a slight green glow formed around two of her fingers as she touched Hinata's forehead, waking her up. Hinata opened her eyes, blushed while seeing Naruto. After a second she realized that Naruto was holding her and she immediately fainted. Tsunade and Sakura laughed and Naruto was just stunned. Ano, how is this supposed to help me training her, Tsunade-chan? Naruto asked while he put down Hinata. Tsunade sat down and Sakura stood beside her, still grinning. Have you ever noticed that she always followed you everywhere during the academy and she always watched you? They said to Naruto. Well, I saw her sometimes, but I didn't know what to think of it since the only time someone looked at me it was with hate, Naruto explained. You don't know what she thinks of you. Sakura replied. You don't mean she hates me so much that every time she's near me she faints? Naruto said, shocked, still clueless. Oh god, why are boys so dumb? Sakura whispered to Tsunade, who smirked and said, it meant she loves you, Naruto. Hinata woke up in the Hokage's office. A bit embarrassed, she quickly sat up. As she looked around she heard some faint talking and looked closer. She saw Naruto sitting in a chair at the desk where the Hokage and her apprentice stood and they appeared to be arguing. Ah no. HHH, how did I end up here with Naruto? Hinata asked as they all turned around and a deep silence fell over them. Naruto brought you here as he thought you weren't feeling well since you fainted during training, Tsunade replied and immediately shook her head. Naruto, who was looking curiously at Hinata, made her blush and was about to open his mouth, but he saw the fifth shook her head and he kept quiet. I want the two of you become more used to each other's presence, Tsunade implied, so I give you this mission. It's an easy D rank that only a mere beginner genin could do alone, but I'd take you two can need a break and this leaves room for daily training. It shouldn't take more than a week or two at most, but consider it as necessary, she continued as she handed him a scroll and finished. There is no team leader and you don't have to rush, just pack light, you'll only need one tent and minimum food. When they walked outside the office towards the normal exit, Hinata said began, I need to pack for tomorrow and I'll need to pick up something as well. Shall we meet around 8 at the gate tomorrow, Naruto-kun? Single quote dot. Alright, want to go eat ramen tonight? Naruto smirked, finally knowing why she started to blush all of the sudden. It's okay, I got enough this time. Oh, and that reminds me, now don't faint please, Hinata. Naruto laughed as he came closer to her and hugged her. Thanks for paying the other day. I'll pay you back soon, I promise, as he blinked at her and slowly turning around making sure she didn't faint. Naruto-kun hugged me, he hugged me. Hinata thought while dreaming along the road, and not only did he hug me, I'm also going to spend many days in a tiny tent with him. As she laughed out loud while entering the mansion, they almost forgot, of course I need to go to Ino before she closes. Quickly turning she began to run, almost knocking one of the guards over as she yelled, sorry, tell my father I'm late for dinner. Before she flew around the corner. A few minutes later she stood in front of the shop which was closed. Now I'll never get the herb in time to enjoy a mission with Naruto, Hinata sighed. At home she packed and watched her father train her little sister, the supposed-to-be, next clan leader. After the Chunin exams the Hyuga Council debated for months and a few months ago she had 1 year to become Junin or she wouldn't be the next leader, seeing at that age she would marry and be Junin. Ever since the news came out her father didn't lay eyes on her nor did he ever talk to her, since he was always training her little sister which already had Chunin rank. Naruto walked home and in a few minutes he was done packing. I should go for Ichiraku ramen and try to get Hinata with me, he thought as he closed his apartment. Of course she was in love with me, she always blushed and every time I talked to her she began to stutter tremendously just as well as her face becoming almost red enough to make some good tomatoes jealous, Naruto smirked. Maybe she'll cough up during the mission, he said out loud while walking through the streets when someone asked him, who will cough up what? As Naruto turned to see who it was he saw a rather familiar face smiling at him. It was Kiba, and Akamaru was walking beside him as he was too big to fit in his jacket or lay on his head. Kiba. Akamaru. How are you guys? Wow, Akamaru has grown big. Naruto half yelled as he walked up to them and began patting Akamaru. I see you have chanced as well, no more orange Naruto. Kiba smirked as he looked at him and thought back of the old screaming orange boy. Because of my training my outfits were all completely destroyed, so when I came back I bought this and Kakashi gave me this coat. Naruto smiled. Then Naruto turned serious. Kiba, I need to ask you something. Naruto started while going closer to Kiba. Kiba, interested in what this cool new Naruto had to say, listened carefully as Naruto said, is it true that Hinata likes me? Because the Hokage just told me while Hinata was asleep because she fainted. Kiba looked at Naruto, then at Akamaru, then to Naruto again when he suddenly started to laugh loudly. Hey, I'm serious here. You've been with her on a team several years, is it really true? Naruto snapped to him as he almost began to get angry. Kiba went down with the laughter and succeeded in saying, she doesn't like you, Naruto, she loves you. She's had a crush on you ever since she first saw you when she was about 6 years old. I can't believe you're that blind to not see such things, Naruto. I mean, every time she went even near you, you could almost cook an egg on her head. Kiba laughed out. Alright, I get the idea. Now there is another thing I need to ask you, Kiba, and for God's sake get serious. Naruto half yelled as he pulled Kiba into a small bar and ordered them both something to drink. I never dealt with anything like this. Can you give me any advice on what to do? I mean, I like her and she's really nice, but I don't know what love is. Naruto whispered the last part as the barmaid was trying to listen as there was nothing else to do. Kiba, still smirking a bit, asked for a drinking bowl for Akamaru and began to think. He always lived with his sister who had several boyfriends, but he never really paid attention to girls generally. Is there any time soon where you two are doing something together? Kiba asked while taking a nip of his drink. We were to train every day for a month, but we received a mission about an hour ago to get to know each other a bit more from the 5th. It was then when she told me. Naruto replied. It's a D-rank mission concerning the delivery of a package from somewhere northwest of the country of fire to somewhere in the country of rain, and it will take an estimated 2 weeks if we take our time, Naruto said. Oh, and we couldn't take much food and only one small tent. Why, I do not know. Naruto muttered half to himself as he looked at Kiba, who was just trying to hold down his laughter. After some moments Kiba smiled and took control over his body. Seems like Sakura strikes Aga, and he whispered more to himself then to Naruto, but Naruto hearted it. What do you mean? Naruto asked, a bit confused as to what Sakura had to do with it. After you left she tried to bring Neji and Tenten closer together, and when she was done with them she tried Ino and Shikamaru. That didn't work, and she soon realized Shikamaru had a crush on Temari, that girl from the sand, so she arranged that they had to be together a lot. Trough the Hokage, and so she got the lure of love. Doctor amongst us, Kiba happily told him as he smirked. Looks like you were her next target. What do you mean? Naruto, still a bit confused. You really are blind to open facts, are you? As soon as the Hokage talked with you about Hinata and you and she talked with Sakura, you were sent on a mission a normal person could do, leaving you alone with Hinata for 2 weeks every night in a tent small enough for 2 people. Are you starting to understand, or do I need to draw you a picture? Kiba said as he almost fell from his chair, laughing at Naruto's face that finally realized what the next 2 weeks would be like as his face got redder than a shiny apple. A long silence follows, only to be disturbed by Kiba's laughter and the barmaid refilling the drinks. What should I do? Naruto asked Kiba. That, my friend, is something you'll have to find out yourself, but watch out, tough. Kiba smirked. What? Just that, if Neji ever found out that you two were a couple, he and Hiashi would kill you in a most dreadful way, Kiba smirked. Naruto almost choked. Have fun and don't overdo it, nay Naruto. Kiba smirked while he paid for his drinks, Naruto doing the same. It started raining outside. They both ran in different directions as they left the shop. As it was far after dinner time, Naruto walked to Ichiraku Ramen alone, overthinking what he would do to get the courage out of Hinata. Deeply sunken in his mind and not looking around him because of the hard rain, he walked straight past Hinata. Hinata walked home when suddenly it began to rain, so she ran, not really looking around her when she saw a black flash passing by, not thinking about it cause she was grieved that she didn't go with Naruto to the ramen shop he loved so much. Coming home she was late for dinner and had to make her own. Not wanting to, she quickly ran to the ramen shop. Thanks for the ramen, Ji-san. Naruto said while he received his bowl. Itadakimasu. He said about to start when Tsuki quickly grabbed his bowl, muttering about it not being good enough for his best costumer as it wasn't complete, and he threw it away. Why did you throw it away? Naruto yelled, half crying for something so delicious snapped away before his eyes. When I say it's not good enough, it's not good enough, kid. He yelled back as Ayami laughed to herself in the back. At that moment he saw a soaked, shivering Hinata entering the stand. Sunken in thought, she sat down in the corner. The same as Naruto, she whispered to Ayami as Ayami looked at them both, saying, something happened to you too. Single quote. Yesterday you were sitting next to each other and now you're ignoring each other. She asked nervously as they were both sunken in thoughts when they came in. How do you mean both? Naruto and Hinata said at the same time, looking up, seeing the other both blushing a shy red. Hinata, you came after all. Naruto smiled whilst standing up and sitting down next to her. Ano, you waited all this time for me, Naruto-kun. Hinata barely dared to say as she looked at the table. Of course I'd wait for you, Hinata. Naruto smiled as he poked her in the side. When I thought you would come, I couldn't think you wouldn't. Naruto smiled broadly, knowing what effect it had. Hinata began to giggle lightly, blushing a dark crimson red that would make B turn jealous. Tsuki laughed together with Ayami as he put 2 bowls in front of them, saying, this one is for me for the L couple of the month. He winked at Naruto, making both Naruto as Hinata become even more red than they were. Although it seemed impossible, they just started their bowls, and after some time they finally dared to speak again. Anu, do you have a 2-man tent, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked more formally, trying to begin a conversation to K the silence. I always slept in caves and under trees with Ero-sennin, but we can go start a little bit later tomorrow to search for one. Naruto suggested, only to be interrupted by Ayami. I got a 2-man tent from when I went camping with a friend of mine. Are you two going on a romantic trip? She asked, half in the clouds, dreaming of her old boyfriend. Naruto grabbed the back of his head and laughed. Hinata began playing with her hands as Naruto said, we just got a mission to go away for about 2 weeks for a mission, but we need to pack light and may only carry the smallest supplies and tent we need. Quickly before Hinata began to stutter and answer. So, you and your new team member are going away for 2 weeks, Tsuki said, smiling broadly. You know, important delivery, possible shinobi enemies, Naruto quickly said, knowing that Tsuki would press onto the subject. He quickly paid for both of them, winking to Hinata. I always keep my promise, remember, Hinata. As they quickly left, running trough the rain into a close by alley to find a dry spot. I'll trust you to bring the tent then. Naruto smiled as he gave her a hug and whispered, I'll see you tomorrow, in her ear. Hinata almost fainted, as well as she was filled with joy, looking forward to what the next 2 weeks would offer her. They both returned home, almost unable to wait for the next day. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.